MTN News, this is Positively Montana.
Good morning, I'm Chet Lehman for MTN News. It's time once again for this week's edition of Positively Montana.
Veterans and first responders often suffer from trauma due to their difficult work, and a group out of Ennis believes that service dogs can help. Mickey is not just a good pet to veteran David Burns, she's also a lifesaver.
And she also monitors me when I'm sleeping. If my oxygen comes off, I quit breathing when I'm sleeping. She'll wake me up if it comes off so that everything's okay, I can put it back on again.
Mickey is a trained service dog with the Puppies for Patriots of Montana in Ennis. Representatives did a demonstration in the Butte American Legion Hall recently and talked about how well-trained service dogs can help detect possible physical and mental problems in their human owners and be there to assist them.
So they are able to smell changes in the body, mood changes, and able to detect those things and respond to them faster and more efficiently.
The program gets dogs when they're puppies and begins training them to see if they'll be good service animals. They even have young volunteers to help with the dogs when they're just weeks old.
Training to walk by the side, and when I open the cage, to not go out unless I say, and then sit, and then down, and then quiet, and then she's still learning rollover.
The program gives free training to dogs that will service veterans and first responders.
We want veterans and first responders and medical workers to stay alive and keep doing what they're doing. They're very important people in our communities, and we need them.
Suicide is a major problem among veterans, and it's the mission of the Puppies for Patriots group to do what they can to try to reverse this terrible trend.
It's my reason for living and for going on, and to see people finally find hope is so powerful. And that's what we give people, that's what the dogs give people actually, is hope.
Veterans, police, and first responders can get an application at the Puppies for Patriots website. In Butte, John Amy, MTN News.
Recently, 6 Montana State University students were selected for awards given by the MSU Department of Native American Studies to honor academic excellence, community service, and leadership. One of those students was Holly Oldcrow, a senior who won the Phyllis Berger Award for Leadership. Holly is a non-traditional student and mother of 2, now on her way to law school with a dream of working in tribal law. She is on a mission to make a difference. One of so many reasons we want to introduce you to her in this edition of Positively Montana.
One of the things that I get teased about is they always say, like, you know, Holly's only worry is making sure she gets things done.
Spend a few minutes talking to Holly Oldcrow, and it's no surprise she stands out as a woman with the skills to get any job done on campus and beyond. She was recently awarded with the Phyllis Berger Award for Leadership.
To me, it was kind of a validation that the work that I've put in was worth, or it was being recognized.
She's a busy woman, a mother of 2 who just graduated with a bachelor's degree in science and sociology and a minor in Native American studies. We caught up with her on the job at the Student Success Center in the Office for Native American Studies. As co-president of the American Indian Council, she has her hand in numerous projects.
I think what I considered my baby this last year was our annual auction fundraiser that we host. We got tons of artwork, tons of, pieces of theirs that they were willing to donate to us because they believed in the Native students here.
Meanwhile, on campus, she's made an impact, spreading awareness about the Native American community and fostering connections for lonesome classmates to make sure they have the emotional support they need to succeed.
Whether it be, helping Nick and Lisa kind of create a comfortable space here for students to study in, or, there would be times where I would just cook a home-cooked meal and invite a few of them over.
MSU was just the most recent chapter in her story. Now she's off to law school in Missoula with a dream to take on tribal law. She says she is inspired by other tribal lawyers working to improve life on reservations, and she wants to be part of it.
What I would like to do as a lawyer is to work with the federal government and tribal reservations as sort of a liaison, working on like federal law and policies. I'd hope to kind of strengthen that relationship between both governments in a more positive way.
As a mother, Holly says her 2 children were big motivators. They are her why. In 2018, she left her world on the Crow Reservation 3 hours away. A good life she was familiar with, but fell short of what she knew she was capable of.
What kind of life am I creating for my kids? Do I want the stereotypical life of just working paycheck to paycheck, you know, and not really thriving, or am I willing to put some hard work in?
Indeed, she says it wasn't easy and she had to become mentally tough.
When I put my mind to something, I really push for it. So being up here, my biggest thing was, okay, you're here for a reason. Yes, it gets lonely. Yes, it gets hard. Yes, you know, you're struggling, but you're here for a reason.
With that reason in mind, it's on to law school, the pursuit of a dream and a mission to make a difference, making Holly Old Crow the epitome of positively Montana.
If something really becomes your passion, go for it.
In Bozeman, Holly Brantley, MTN News. Holly says her family's background in law enforcement and the military and jobs as a dispatcher helped fuel her passion for law. 5 other students were honored by the Department of Native American Studies as well. They all have amazing stories. Watch for those in the days to come on MTN News.
6 students were recently recognized here at Montana State University for their efforts to simply make a difference in a variety of ways. And one such student, Max Yates, is one of a select handful to ever have come from this campus with a certain scholarship.
Bozeman has been such a vibrant and inclusive place that has opened all these doors for me.
For Max Yates, at the time a senior biochemistry major from Bozeman, it's a list that keeps growing alongside his work ethic.
Everything that I've accomplished and everything that has been, doors that have been opened for me have all been due to other people around me. And a lot of that's growing up in Bozeman and deciding to stay at Montana State and decided to stay at the public land grant institution.
The honors have come like birds to a cornfield, including the Daniel Voyage Community Involvement Award.
I was not involved in the department through the academic sense, but I worked with the Native American Student Success Center, which is a one-room part of the Wilson building at Montana State that's now getting an entire building to itself, which is exciting.
Like many Montana stories, his starts from humble beginnings.
I just simply went up and asked if there was any way I could get involved, if they had any tutoring programs or anything, at least to share that they didn't have any money for paid tutors. And I was like, I'll do it for free if you want. We tried to establish the program based on mutual respect and recognizing that I'm not Indigenous. And so I simply came in and sat in the center one day and just They said, there's a tutor here if you want him, and students were a bit reticent to start using me at first, but then started picking up and utilizing my services. Now we have over 11 tutors.
Yates worked to expand MSU's American Indian Success Center tutoring program, seizing its reins for 3 years. That's him there, tutoring Marine veteran Dan Rayos. The senior also pushed to bolster support in partnership with MSU's Honors College, with more eyes on him every step of the way.
Tutoring was so impactful because that's a point of vulnerability to come up and say, hey, I need help with this subject, whether it's math, chemistry, economics, Spanish, whatever. That's a point of really sincere authenticity, and that opens a lot of doors.
The Sigma Phi Epsilon and Eagle Mount volunteer even snagged recognition as a Truman Scholar, one of only 8 that MSU has seen in the last 11 years, and 17 since the scholarship was even founded. Yates also secured the MSU Award for Excellence this spring, and as an MSU Presidential Scholar. Many hats, all as a Bobcat.
It's been really humbling and really, there's a word again, and really wonderful just to be involved with the Native American Student Success Center.
Credit that he says all goes to those who have supported him, as he hopes that growing list all points to making a difference.
Clearly, making a difference means a lot to you.
Absolutely. That you can always make time to give back.
At Montana State University, Cody Boyer, MTN News.
The 5 largest local high schools are in constant competition. It's usually on the court or on the field. But each year they also take that rivalry to the wall. Meet the 2021 winner of War of the Walls, who's out to make a mark on this world.
So senior is known as the most diverse school. You step in there and you're like welcome there. There's a ton of really nice people there too, and you make friends really fast.
Breaking down walls, working toward inclusion for all. The message behind ATHENA RENOVA's image that won this year's War of the Walls competition.
It's because of blending. Like you can even see like right here. You can try and get the blending there.
This huge piece of work from start to finish was complicated, just like this young artist who represents her school of blended races, ethnicities, and economic backgrounds.
You know you're welcome there, but in Montana it can kind of be hard to feel that way in certain places.
And ATHENA knows that firsthand. Her dad, Sergio, is 100% Mexican.
From walking around like in Walmart or something and I speak a little Spanish to my dad, you're gonna get a little bit of looks, like side glances. It used to bug me, but I've learned to ignore it. I think it's best to ignore it too.
And with the help of her family, specifically her father, ATHENA has learned to ignore other judgment as well.
I don't think I'd be here without him because he's the one who told me like to pursue it. Because there's like a ton of bad talk on, oh, are you sure you want to pursue art? You're not going to make a lot of money. But that's not what it's about. It's like your passion. And he's the one who told me to go for it. And so I did. And so now I'm doing really cool things.
The Master Luan Grant isn't the only mark ATHENA has made on this community. After a little push from her father to do and try something different, she won a citywide art contest, and now her work is displayed here on the Billings South Side. And just like the message from senior high, potentially inspiring others to do the same.
I think like the whole world breaking through for inclusion, it can be hard, but it's just amazing that a little school in Montana can do such a thing, really.
ATHENA is headed to art school in Chicago with hopes to someday work in character design or become an art therapist. Her next step, making her mark and breaking down walls, one brushstroke at a time. In Billings, JEANELLE SLADE, MTN News.
Somers native Jasmine Morton grew up fantasizing about the Somers mansion, hoping one day she could own it. In fall of 2020, her dream came true.
Looking up the hill, being in love with it, I think every little girl and boy who grew up here is probably captured by the mansion as well.
Sitting at 7,900 square feet, the 117-year-old historic Somers mansion offers a beautiful look into what once was, as new owners dream about what could be.
We have a ceremony site if you wanted to get married on site, and the mansion will have several suites in it, so you can stay. We'll either offer those up to wedding folks or as part of a bed and breakfast.
Jasmine and her husband Justin are working hard to bring the Somers mansion up to code, but admit they are starting from ground zero.
We need to run in utilities. We have to, bring in water, sewer, electric, all of the things that you would need for a new build, but it's all that much more complicated because we already have the structure here.
Built in 1903, the mansion was originally owned by John O'Brien, who designed and built the town of Somers while operating a lumber mill. Jasmine says they recently put a new roof on the mansion, but need to wait for a commercial building permit to be approved before renovations can begin on the inside.
It's survived remarkably well. It's in pretty original shape. Unfortunately, that also means that we'll have to make a lot of updates to bring it up to code.
With 14 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms, Jasmine says the mansion and all its mystery has been the talk of the town for decades, leading to some rumors she hasn't quite yet verified.
We've heard that at one point it was a brothel. We've heard that there are underground tunnels running from the mansion down to the other structures and possibly other places in Somers. There is a direct route above ground, but a direct route to Dell's, the bar down the road. Which I very much appreciate.
Along with weddings and a bed and breakfast, Jasmine says she would love to keep the mansion entrenched in the community, providing a space for events and special occasions.
It's a part of Somers, and I want it to be used by the community. So whatever that need is, I'd love for it to be available.
Jasmine says there's no timetable for when the mansion will be fully renovated, but hopes to have some of the property open for weddings as early as next summer. In Somers, Sean Wells, MTN News.
Positively Montana continues
For those with a sweet tooth here in Helena, you've got good news coming your way. There's a new addition coming to town. Cookies and Cream right behind me is slated to open up on June 11th. And when you walk in for your ice cream sandwich and you meet the owners, you might think, well, they're a little young, and that's because they are. KAYTON, BELZER, and Callie Johns are two Helena Capital students headed into their senior year and said the reasoning behind trying to build this business was to make it the ultimate summer job.
I'm excited to work with her and just have this experience for us and just know that like we could do this by ourselves and like, I mean, obviously with the help of everyone, but know that this is something we did and something that like in the future we can look back and just be like, oh yeah, that was something in high school. We did that and no one else did.
The building sat dormant for a handful of years, and Belzer noted bringing the building back to presentable fashion was a bit of a project before the open.
When we first got this building, it was actually a mess. It was super old and outdated, so we had to remodel the whole inside of the building. We had to fix a ton of holes in the walls, we had to paint, we had to get all new appliances, and then just get all of our baking supplies and set everything up.
Belzer and John said for right now the plan is to set up shop this summer and see how they do before they commit to next summer. But John said the fact that they're actually able to open a business at such a young age is an accomplishment in and of itself.
We get to be a part of the community, and it also, I'm excited to learn what it's like doing this, because I'm sure we haven't even gotten to the hardest part of this whole business. So I think it'll be exciting just to see how much we can do and how far we can get with this.
So Belzer and John's ultimate summer job is slated to open up on June 11th at 11 a.m. For more information, you can find that on our website. Reporting in Helena, Sam Hoyle, MTN News.
Tonight's unsung hero worked long hours during the pandemic to keep the Flathead Valley fully caffeinated.
So people were able to stay safe and still get what they needed to be able to, at least have something that's one part of some normalcy in their life during a chaotic time.
Zach Farnes has been the roast master at Montana Coffee Traders for the last 3 years.
I think we probably have somewhere in around 40 coffees, some of them blends, some single origins. So we've, being around for 40 years, we definitely have created things that people are very much attached to.
When a stay-at-home order was issued for non-essential businesses in Montana in late March of 2020, Farnes and his team of close to a dozen coffee roasters quickly sprang into action, ramping up coffee bean production as online sales tripled during those first few months.
Thinking about how we could keep production going, we ended up splitting up the production team and absorbing some of the cafe staff, which really helped. It allowed us to have two teams potentially if one went down, and so that really was the main focus of how we're able to continue our sales.
Montana Coffee Traders wholesale coffee is shipped to restaurants and stores across the Northwest, while online sales reach coffee lovers nationwide. Montana Coffee Traders General Manager Heather VRENTAS says Zach's leadership and innovation has been essential to their success.
Zach was outstanding in his innovation. He came up with a way that we could house double the amount of green unroasted coffee on site very quickly, and that was key as shipping started to shut down and ports were shutting down. So we were able to stockpile enough raw product in-house to keep going.
Zach says each batch of beans takes roughly 10 to 15 minutes to roast. On average, they've been roasting 2,000 to 3,000 pounds of beans a day during the pandemic.
I'm lucky enough to be a part of someone's daily ritual, which is what it is for a lot of coffee drinkers. And with that, being able to create a constant in an inconsistent time was really something that kind of kept me pushing me throughout this. It's, you need that comfort when you have all that stress.
The production lead, Bonnie, today was just saying that if Zach hadn't been here, she can't imagine how we would have gotten through the pandemic. And I think that's true on a lot of levels, for sure.
In Whitefish, Sean Wells, MTN News.
How often have you seen visitors to Montana come and go without ever looking back? They see the sights, go to the restaurants, go to the parks. They don't really leave a lasting impact. Well, that is not the case for one visitor to Montana. She came last year with such a big to-do list of ways to help Montanans that she's practically become a Montanan herself. ANDREA AVILES CIGARROSTEGUI needed a career change. After a good run at odd jobs post-college, the mountains came calling, so she answered.
I decided to drive about 19-20 hours from California to Montana.
She arrived in Polson last fall as a member of AMERICORPS, the nationally recognized volunteer program. Her first order of business, lend a hand with the Upward Bound College Prep program at Salish Kootenai College.
We have had AMERICORPS volunteers teach summer classes for us, work with students to provide academic tutoring or college preparation, and to help go on enrichment activity trips with us.
It wasn't long after Andrea set up camp in Montana that she realized this wouldn't be the typical AMERICORPS experience. With COVID looming, the trips were canceled, programs postponed. The idea of packing up and giving up never crossed her mind. She came to Montana not with her hands held out, but with her sleeves rolled up. And this was a community who could use an Andrea.
She has made lemonade out of a rather lemon-filled AMERICORPS year.
She does what she can through virtual student mentorships, helping kids find college and career fairs, offering Spanish tutoring, and encouraging the most at-risk students to earn their high school diplomas.
So that is the whole reason why we're here as AMERICORPS members, to really help out members of society to excel and push them a little bit more to where they can fulfill that capacity within themselves. We're just a tool for them, you know, to realize their own potential.
Andrea's footprint doesn't stop at the SKC campus. When the People's Center caught fire, she showed up to help salvage the priceless artifacts. She distributes COVID relief food boxes each week. The Boys and Girls Club is also lucky enough to have Andrea volunteer.
So my activities are just whatever need there is in the community, I try to be, I try to be there.
Andrea may not be a permanent resident, but the impact she's made already will tie her to the last best place for years to come.
What made me know that I needed to nominate Andrea for the Unsung Hero was her stepping up to build a personal relationship with one of our students who has had a challenging year beyond any words. And Andrea has been able to finally meet the student face to face and offers such inspiration and support for this young person who needed somebody like Andrea. So that's why she's my unsung hero.
In Polson, Megan Mannering, MTN News.
From all of us at MTN News, thank you for joining us for this week's Positively Montana.